Hey friends on the Front Range, Corey Garris here. I want to introduce you to one of my friends. This is Craig Whitney. Craig is awesome. Craig helps lead an organization called the Multiply Project, and they do incredible things. We've known each other for quite a long time,
Yes.
like helping church planters.
Yes.
That's your background. And so we're so blessed at Front Range Multiplication Network to be entering into partnership with the Multiply Project with Craig and with a guy named Jeff Bennett, who you're going to meet. But I wanted you to meet them because we have an awesome opportunity coming up in February, the 5 Shifts Workshop. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute, but we're going to help teams make a massive shift in multiplication. And you and Jeff are going to lead that. So I wanted them to meet you.
Yeah.
Tell them like Multiply Project, because again, you and I have a
Yes.
long history. You've done a lot of things with planters and multiplication. Why now the Multiply Project organization? Like, what is it? What's your dream, your heart, your vision for that?
Yes. Jeff and I both planted churches back in the 90s, so been in the church planting game for quite a while. Helped other people plant churches for 15, almost 20 years, and have just seen over time that there are less people raising their hand to plant a church, and oftentimes the people who are not the people who have the greatest skills, abilities, giftings.
Yeah.
And so how do we make more church planters? And I know that sounds kind of strange, but that's the mission of Multiply Project, is to make more church planters. But we don't want to do that ourselves. We believe that multiplication has to be centered, has to flow out of the local church.
That's right.
And so the way that we make more church planters is to come alongside local churches, help them call, equip, and then send church planters from within their congregation.
Yeah. And we always talk about, we want to multiply disciples, multiply leaders, that multiply those churches, those church planters, and eventually networks. Okay, so you guys have created this really cool one-day experience, 5 shifts that lead pastors and their teams come,
Yes.
and it's like a conversation. Tell us, like, when we're offering that in February, why would they take 5 or 6 hours, probably 6 hours that day? Why would they set that aside? What can they expect to get? What will be the outcome of that?
Yes. So one of the things we've seen is a lot of times conversations about multiplication have a lot of theory, a lot of ideas, maybe even a lot of theology. And all of that is good, but you can be left wondering, what do I go back to my church, back to my
Like, what do we
leadership
do,
role?
actually?
What do I actually do?
Yeah,
and so
changing.
we've identified, or kind of given this workshop the subtitle, less theory, more traction. And so the idea of the 5 shifts is every one of them leads to something that you actually do. And we've brought this down, and I don't know if I should call it baby steps, but we've brought this down to a level where you can literally that day take steps as a pastor, as a team, and then go home and begin to make habits out of those steps that produce the fruit of multiplication. So instead of sort of hey, how do we kind of rearrange our whole church, it's more of, how do I just add a couple very simple things to my daily, my weekly, my monthly routine, that if I'll do those repeatedly over time, we'll begin to see multiplication happen in our church. Disciples multiply, leaders multiply, and eventually churches multiply.
Yeah, unleashes multiplication exponentially
Yes.
over time.
Yes.
Yeah. So who are you finding, who are like the best fits for this? I mean, I know everyone's invited. You're all invited. But like, who are the best fits? A couple kinds of churches.
Can I say anyone that wants to obey the Great Commission? Am I allowed
Sure,
to say that?
we can guilt them.
Okay, no. We really have, I think a lot of times, multiplication, church planting, people think, residency, we don't have the resources. Yeah. We're finding really that any church can benefit, but any church that has sort of already got their eyes on sort of this disciples make disciples, develop leaders pathway.
Yeah.
If we're sort of having to convince you that multiplication is a good idea, this workshop's
not a good
probably
fit.
not for you.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to spend much time doing that. We're going to tell you how to do it, not
Yeah.
try to convince you should do it.
Yep.
But if you've started down that path and you're going, we need more traction, we need to accelerate the idea, the vision that we have, then you're going to benefit from this. And for lead pastors, but bring some of your team, even bring key volunteer leaders, because the more that you can instill these habits into your leadership, the more traction you're going to get. The more that you'll see momentum develop from these practices. And they're not just practices for lead pastors. They're practices anyone in the church that is a leader can adopt to move multiplication forward.
Yeah. Well, we're really grateful for you, for the organization. Thanks for the partnership. And we would love, love, love to have you come. If you're just saying, hey, we want to be a disciple-making church. We want to raise up disciple makers, multiplying disciples, leaders, and churches. We think this is a great workshop for you and your team. We'd love to have you there. Details are in the fine print. Register, and we'll see you then.